Knoll proudly declared his refined palate for exquisite food, advising El to brace himself for what was to come. Lost in his thoughts, El found himself the target of Knoll's mockery, the latter suggesting that El might have grown fearful. The ridicule continued until, unexpectedly, Knoll was knocked out cold. Concern etched El's face as he looked at the unconscious Knoll. Rurin, Knoll's wife, offered reassurance, stating that her husband was a tough nut. She urged El to forget the mocking words, assuring him that Knoll's tricks were just bluster. El, however, brushed it off, expressing his willingness to cook for both Rurin and Knoll. Surprising Rurin, El accepted Knoll's challenge and invited both couples to join him for dinner at his restaurant. He promised to whip up a delicious meal that would surpass any skepticism. Rurin, skeptical herself, decided to test El's culinary skills by offering him some Bellerin meat. El declined, insisting that the meat he had was enough, confidently pledging to create something mouth-watering. But Rurin stopped El, warning him that the meat in the sack was just a lump of ordinary meat. It was the belly fat of a wuba. In this world, livestock had different names. Cows were called wuka, chickens were palenque, wolves were belrin, and pigs were known as wuba. As the afternoon sun cast a warm glow, El began his culinary preparations. Opening a sack of meat, he revealed a succulent pork belly. Recognizing the quality, he understood why Knoll took pride in such top-notch meat. In this world, palenque, unlike chicken, was considered a luxury ingredient. The more budget-friendly alternative was wuba, or pork, with pork belly being an especially economical cut. El couldn't help but feel that the people in this world didn't truly appreciate the allure of the meat before him. Recognizing the quality of the pork belly, he decided that grilling was the best way to savor it. With a flick of his hand, he conjured a ball of flame, starting a fire for the grill. Meanwhile, as Rurin and Knoll were heading towards the restaurant, the couples engaged in a heated discussion about the events at the butcher shop. Rurin questioned her husband about the need for approval when selling meat to a restaurant. She wondered when he adopted such a fancy principle, expressing her belief that El seemed like an honest and kind newcomer who deserved to be treated nicely. Knoll defended himself, stating that she had only met El that morning, and Rurin couldn't possibly know El's true personality. Rurin, slightly irritated, countered that rather than being deceived with both eyes open, didn't Knoll think that other people's eyes were more accurate? She saw through Knoll's excuse of checking El's skills and pointed out that he was merely testing El's sense of responsibility. Her words made Knoll pause, realizing she had a point. Attempting to save face, he claimed to have a discerning palate, questioning Rurin about what would happen if El's cooking skills fell short of expectations. Underneath a sky tinged with hues of amber, Rurin inquired, "What's your plan, then?" Her husband, Knoll, responded cryptically, saying, "If you ask for a pound, they'll only give you a pound," and continued on his way. A green humanoid monster with razor-sharp teeth emitted a deafening scream. A knight, struck hard by a massive club, crumpled to the ground. Another knight, realizing the overwhelming numbers, bellowed for a retreat. In the chaos, a soldier trapped under rubble cried out for help. A menacing monster raised its club, targeting the helpless soldier who continued pleading for assistance. Then, El stepped forward, invoking the magical skill, Thermal Blade. Light radiated from his hand, cutting through the monsters with a blade-like precision. Even the rubble was reduced to pieces, providing an opening for the trapped soldier to be rescued. The knights, astonished by El's sudden intervention, greeted him with a mix of relief and reverence. They hailed him as a powerful mage, a great archmage, cheering at his arrival. In the present, El employed the same magical skill, Thermal Blade, not for battling monsters, but for a more mundane yet vital task. He deftly used it to slice the meat, ensuring the marinade seeped into every fiber of the meat. As it cooked, the surface moisture evaporated, promising a crispy texture for whoever savored it. Wiping his hands, El declared the meat ready. The doorbell chimed. The door creaked open and Rurin was welcomed by El. She was invited to take a seat as he prepared to serve the dish in a matter of moments. Rurin admired the tavern, noting its cleanliness and orderliness. She praised the place, finding it appealing, but her husband, Knoll, remained unimpressed, dismissing it as merely clean and nothing more. Undeterred by Knoll's grumpiness, Rurin pulled out her frying pan and requested him to be patient, assuring him that the food would be served soon. Despite his reluctant agreement, he waited with a shaky demeanor. Elle in the kitchen, lightly coated the griller with oil, mindful of the pork belly's natural fat. Ensuring the meat wouldn't stick, he placed it skin side down. He mused that with more time, he could have prepared even better. The pork began to sizzle, the delightful sound enhancing the anticipation of the meal. Elle carefully fried the skin, adjusting the heat for even grilling. Adding a sprinkle of salt, he grilled the meat thoroughly, cutting it into convenient serving sizes. Next, he prepared a vegetable salad, hesitating slightly as he considered the locals' unfamiliarity with the flavors. Despite this, he continued, incorporating various vegetables and a tangy dressing to complement the richness of the grilled pork belly. Elle decided to keep it simple, suspecting Knoll's meticulous taste might not appreciate unnecessary additions. Nicely plated, the salad and grilled pork belly were ready. Elle served the food, and Rain was pleasantly surprised by its appetizing appearance. Knoll, however, grumbled, dismissing it as mere appearance and nothing more. Rain, with her fork, sampled a bite of the grilled pork belly. As the flavors unfolded in her mouth, she couldn't help but liken it to a taste of heaven. Surprised, she turned to Elle, questioning if it was genuinely wuba meat. Elle confidently affirmed that it was indeed. Rain shared her experience, describing the grilled pork belly as delightfully crispy on the outside and bursting with juiciness within. The refreshing aroma of the salad complemented and balanced the dish, a combination she never anticipated. Expressing her love for the food, Rain's praise brought a smile to Elle's face. Pleased, Rain promised to supply meat for Elle in the future so she could enjoy his cooking again. Elle thanked her, shifting his attention to Knoll, inquiring about his meal. To Elle's surprise, only a few pieces of vegetables remained on Knoll's plate. Knoll, with an assertive tone, declared that the meat was gone. Elle, stuttering, nervously asked if Knoll was satisfied. The response was a resounding no, accompanied by a table slam. Knoll demanded more meat, loudly and insistently, but before he could escalate, a frying pan met his head once again. Rain scolded him, advising that if he wanted more meat, he should ask politely. Clearing his throat, Knoll conceded. He stated that Elle had passed his test, and among all the wuba dishes he had tasted, Elle's was the best. The contract was sealed, granting Elle access to the finest meat from the Rurin Empire for his shop. Elle chuckled with satisfaction. Rain was glad that her husband had finally acknowledged Elle's culinary skills. As the deal was sealed with a handshake, Elle secured a reliable source of meat, ensuring a stable supply for his business. Knoll, satisfied with the meal, ordered another serving, marking what Elle considered a successful first day of business. Upstairs, in a bedroom on the second floor, a black-haired girl stirred awake. The enticing aroma of delicious food wafting up from downstairs had roused her from slumber.